Time for our official Movies 102 review, and today's review is on The Amazing Spider-Man, as I promised earlier in the show. The movie stars Andrew Garfield, which of course he was in The Social Network, Emma Stone, which I guess by now we all know, Rhys Ifans, Dennis Leary, Martin Sheen, and Sally Field also star in the movie. The visuals in the movie, let's start with the visuals. They were pretty good. There were some very interesting visuals. It was POV shots of Spider-Man, swinging around. We actually saw that kind of POV shot in the teaser, and that actually does make it into the movie. And there's a couple of other POV shots that make it into the film that are pretty interesting. There's not many of them. There's probably like two, three maybe at best. They were pretty cool. The design for the Lizard, which of course the Lizard plays the villain. He's played by Rhys Ifans, who does a terrific job playing not just Curt Connors, but also playing the Lizard. He's not just kind of this mad scientist. And Rhys Ifans also says this in an interview where he was talking about playing Curt Connors. He's not just playing this mad scientist. You actually do feel for his character, and that was probably one of the better moments of the film where we get to see him just alone, and the reason why he does this to himself is almost really, you almost feel for the guy, you really do, and that's kind of rare to feel something for a villain. It's hard for a director to actually make that happen. So anyway, Rhys Ifans does a terrific job as a Lizard, and the design it looks very interesting. It almost looked lizardy, almost kind of worm-like in a way, and we do get a lot of good looks. In the teasers we don't really get that many good looks, but in the movie, once you start seeing him and once he starts moving around, it seems pretty cool. It seems pretty interesting. Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker, I thought was a pretty good choice. I mean, I like Andrew. I liked his performance in The Social Network, and we as an American audience don't really know Andrew Garfield that much. But I liked his performance as Peter Parker. I thought it was very interesting. I think he did a terrific job. I think he bought more. Yeah, I think he was more of a Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire. And I know I might be crucified for that, but I think he did a better job as Peter Parker than Tobey Maguire. That's just me. Emma Stone plays Gwen Stacy, which of course, if you are familiar with the comics, is Peter Parker's real first love. And Emma Stone does a terrific job as Gwen Stacy. She really does. She brings a lot to the character, and the two of them have enormous chemistry in the film. I mean, the chemistry in the movie was really good between the two characters, and the characters are really fleshed out and well done. I wish there was more of that, of the both of them being together and kind of playing off one another. But the scenes where it happens, it's really good. The chemistry again between them is really well done. Speaking of Stacy, Captain Stacy, played by Dennis Leary. I think Dennis Leary did a really good job. It's rare to see him kind of play the protective father figure in the movie, but he does a really good job playing Captain Stacy. Of course, he's after Spider-Man, and of course there's that dinner scene that you see in the trailers of Peter kind of Peter and him kind of having this banter back and forth between what is Spider-Man really a villain or is he a hero, and it's really great. It really is. What else was I going to say about the movie? The movie does have its flaws in the sense that it's a reboot of a movie that came out 5 years ago. I mean, the last Spider-Man movie was 5 years ago, and I don't know. And here's the thing: when you do a reboot, especially with a reboot of a movie that hasn't been, I'm trying to think of the same word. If you're gonna do a reboot, at least do it 10 years, maybe 15 years afterwards. Don't do it 5 years after a reboot, because the origin story in Amazing Spider-Man is done really within the first hour of the movie. I mean, that first hour is almost really the origin story, but more fleshed out. And we see Peter Parker in high school, and we see him kind of being bullied by Flash Thompson, and we see his Uncle Ben and his Aunt May, and we already know what happens, but it was still interesting to see. It is kind of interesting to see how all that works out in the film, but at the same time, it's one of those things that it just I could have been okay not knowing that, but again, the performances by Andrew Garfield and Martin Sheen, who plays Uncle Ben, and Sally Field, who play Aunt May, were really well done, and I think they did a really good job playing those characters and making us feel for those characters, even though we already know the origin story. There is a little tiny flaw that I don't really call it a flaw. I just called it kind of not even a plot hole. It was kind of just bothering me. In the kind of it kind of leads up to that first hour, going into that second hour of the film, because the movie is at least a little over 2 hours long. There is that plot point where we never get answered, and I think they're probably leaving that for the sequel, which, okay, I wouldn't mind, but I think I would rather want them to answer it in the first movie. It's just literally small thing, really, but that's me. I don't pick at the little things, but for this, unfortunately I did. But the Amazing Spider-Man, I think I've even said it here on the show. I wasn't really that excited for it because, again, it was a reboot of a movie that was 5 years ago. Even though Spider-Man 3 wasn't that good, I just I wasn't really excited for it. And then the trailers started getting better and better. So I think it's pretty cool. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. The movie was not blew me away. It wasn't amazing, bad pun. But it was good. It really was. I liked it. I would recommend it. I would. It was really good. The performances in the movie were great. Some of the visuals were great. Kind of the only bad side was that it was another origin story of an origin we already knew about. And a lot of times, when you tell an origin story of a popular character, you can go the right way, you can go the wrong way. Luckily for this, it didn't go the wrong way. So, take that as you will. My rating for The Amazing Spider-Man is a 4 out of 5. It was really good. Again, minor things here and there, mostly the fact that it's another origin story and it was fleshed out over an hour, but it was well done. I appreciated what they were doing. So, yeah, that's my review for The Amazing Spider-Man. So, hopefully, you go watch it if you want to, and let me know what you think if you see me somehow. Let me know what you think, and hopefully you guys enjoy that.